Hi everyone, I'm Mike. I like metal. Today, we're going to be talking about my new plasma cutter. Well, new used plasma cutter. I got it on Craigslist. Pretty excited about it. So let's start off with a little safety first, and then we'll get right into the machine. Plasma cutters, they're just electric torches. You have heat, you have sparks, you have molten metal. So, you would like a nice respirator. I use this one. I try to keep, well, certainly the doors open, ventilation, and these will filter out the death cloud that comes off of that. It just atomizes everything, and you don't want to breathe that. A couple of videos back, I was talking about safety, and I couldn't find my respirators, which I have since then. And this little Miller LPR 100 you can get on Amazon, your Miller distributors, and this is a great respirator to fit under your hood. This particular respirator, you can't really get your hood down. It's a little too wide where the other one is made for it, which this respirator is also just as good for plasma cutting. Safety glasses, I think you want to tint around 3 to 5. I go on the light side, it seems like. I try not to really focus on the arc. I try to look beyond it, so I'm not looking right at the spark. So a good pair of safety glasses, good pair of gloves. Also, be aware of where your feet are. Stay away from that nylon webbing. Everything's going to come down and land on the ground. So be aware of where your feet are. Be aware of cords, extensions are. This has some type of covering. I don't know how well that will last if you drop a molten piece of metal on it. But anyways, that's kind of safety, common sense. And remember two things. It's hot and it gives off some death fumes. So go from there. Anyways, let's talk about my machine. The Lotus. LTP, P for pilot. 5000D, 5000 for 50 amps. I, in my career, have used a lot of plasma cutters, usually Hypertherm, thermodynamics. And then the import scene, flooding the markets. Basically, all your import plasma cutters, they come from the same factory. A different coat of paint, some different vinyls on them, and off they go to different stores. This particular machine, when I was researching these machines, this particular machine stood out because, well, it's made in China, but they distribute it through California, the Lotus Corporation. They've been around for about 13 years now. They make TIG machines, MIG welders, plasmas, multi-machines. So I was leaning more towards that, only because, I don't know, it sounded like they've been around for a while, and they're kind of making things happen. It looks like they put out new machines every once in a while. So having said that, these machines are, I'd say, somewhere around $500. Or a Hypertherm, $1,500 or more. The same with consumables, about a third of the price. So as I was doing my research, I thought I'd go on Craigslist. And somebody in my area had one for sale for $300. I was all over it. And it's newer model, used really lightly. So for the $300, I got the machine and a box of consumables. You have your tips. this tip screws in. This nozzle screws on top of that. You have this piece that screws on. Wait, where's my torch? So it all screws on to here, and this piece, which is a standoff. So you don't want your tip on thicker metal resting on the metal, because as you burn through, pieces will come up and they'll block your tip. So they make this standoff that you use. Now for sheet metal, I want to say that because of the grooving in the top, it's going to let out some of the backup. So I'm going to try it on sheet metal just like this, and I think it'll cut fine. Okay, so I got all this, and this is probably, I don't know, I like to say $100 worth of stuff. Okay, maybe not, maybe 75. Also, a couple filters for the air filter. He had also upgraded to this is made by Thermodynamics, another company that sells plasma cutters. But this is a water dryer, I should say an air dryer. It helps to keep the moisture out of your lines. Plasmas don't like moist air. You want it as dry as you can. Okay, having said that, this particular machine, let's just say you bought this machine and it's brand new, okay? It's gonna come with this plug on the end. It's a twist lock, 220, 30 amp plug. But all my welding equipment is set up with this style, which I don't know what that's called, a dryer plug. I know it is a welding plug because my whole career, every machine I encounter has this plug. So I changed it out on the other side. Also comes with this machine is an adapter, because this is dual voltage. It'll run on 110 up to, I think, somewhere around 30 amps, and then 220 up to 50 amps. So I made this adapter 110 and 220, which will come in handy. Say you just have to cut something light and you don't have access to 220. What I want to do is see how it actually cuts. They say that it's rated for 1/2 inch, which, as far as I'm concerned, that's pretty thick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out some pieces. I've got some aluminum, I've got steel, I've got some 1/8 inch steel, I've got 1/4 inch steel, and then the grand finale, we're going to see how it cuts through 1/2 inch steel. So what I'll do is we'll cut to that. I'll shoot that because we're fairly new at this and I'm not quite sure how to edit the sound out and sound in. So we're going to try this way, and we'll be moving on to some sound editing. But so we'll do that. We'll cut that. I'll show you some different materials. We'll come back and we'll look at the cuts and we'll see if it was worthy of my $300 investment. Okay. Here we go. was a mammoth jam, but it wasn't that half an inch. All right, let's start at the beginning. I had a piece of 1/4 inch aluminum. It got through some slag on the bottom that will certainly chip off. And I tell you what was really the issue, and I know you didn't see it, I had changed out a couple of these guides. Look at this one, got a big aluminum goobers, so that was hindering the cutting. So I changed out the tip and the guard, and you can see after cutting these materials, that tip is pretty trashed. You see how that orifice there is burnt out? Yeah, that's ready for another one. But let's go down the line here. The aluminum, I'm going to go with, that's the limit. That's pushing it. You need a real steady hand. I haven't been, no excuses, I haven't been plasma cutting lately, so there's a feel, there's a touch, but you need a real steady, slow speed for the 1/4 inch aluminum. I'm going to say that anything less than that, 1/8 inch coarse sheet metal, it's all good. One of the problems with aluminum is that it is going to gall up, and it gets a little trickier to cut. There's some items you can spray on there to help it slide a little easier, which will help from that jerkiness. You can take splatter spray, and that'll certainly help. And they actually make a product for being a little easier to slide on the metal. Okay, moving on. Then we had the 1/8 inch. 1/8 inch wasn't too bad. Had a little slag I had chipped off, and it's very workable. I seem to have had a little issue with jerkiness, and I contribute that once again to that little aluminum goober on there, but that was probably hindered me all the way through. So that's not too bad. Then we went up to the 1/4 inch, and I thought 1/4 inch, I also had knocked some slag off of that. It's acceptable. I think you can, get a project done without cursing at it too much. But then we get up to the 1/2 inch, which is the max. Supposedly it's supposed to cruise on through. Once again, you can see the slag built up here, and that would come off. I would say that this, you don't want many projects with 1/2 inch with this machine. It'll just take you for a while. Probably want to break a torch out. So, after saying all that, what do I think of my $300 plasma cutter? I'm pleased with it, okay? It's not a $2,000 Hypertherm. I think when you're shopping, if you go this route, I would always jump up. So this is rated 50 amps. They say it'll cut up to 1/2 inch. I think if I knew that, didn't come across this deal, I would have jumped up to maybe a 70 amp machine that was maybe rated for 5/8 or a little thicker, and then you knew it would really breeze through that 1/2 inch a little easier. I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to use it on projects. Most of my projects around here are 1/8 inch, maybe the most, in sheet metal. So that's where I think I'm going to be okay. Now, as far as the other important thing when you're shopping, and if you're going with the import specials, make sure that it has a pilot light. The P in this name, which is, what is it? LTP 5000D. The P is for pilot light. The pilot light is so you do not have to make contact with the tip for it to ignite, which is going to help you out on painted materials, rusted materials, perforated materials. That means anything you can get a clean ground to, you're going to be able to cut with this. if it doesn't have the pilot light, you won't be able to cut painted materials, rusted materials because of that. So make sure it has that. Of course, the ones without a pilot light you can get for a couple $100, I'm pretty sure. So go the extra $100, get the pilot light, and I'm pleased with it. For $300, how can you not be? And for most of you, if you just want one around the shop to, you know, to have, if you come across something, and you can, you know, fork out $300-400, go with it. All right, check it out. Good entry level, and you know, let you know if this is the way you want to go. Well, having said all that, I hope you kind of got an idea what an import will do, and you'll see it around. You'll see it around on other projects. So until our next video, thank you. Hit the likes, hit the subscribes, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.